Welcome to Fashion Neurosis, Beth Ditto.
Thank you, Bella.
Can you tell me what clothes you're wearing today and why you chose them?
I'm wearing an H&M dress and these boots that I love by Stella Luna. They're my favorite. They kind of always make me feel rough around the edges in a good way. So they kind of like always make me feel put together, I guess. And they're comfortable.
They look good on the sofa as well. I always love to have the shoes on the sofa, even though it's controversial.
Yeah, but you know, it's your house. It's your rules.
Exactly. My rules.
It's your house and you live here.
And you're the lead singer and songwriter of the indie rock band Gossip, which has sold over 10 million records worldwide.
Is that the real number?
Yep, that's what I read.
Oh.
Or is it more?
Oh, for sure, no. Definitely not more.
10 million records worldwide, and you've recently reformed, and you're also famous for your amazing outfits and for your campaigning for LGBTQ plus rights, and you describe yourself as shy. How does that manifest?
Shy. I don't know if shy is the right word. I don't know how to explain it because I'm somebody who can't stop talking no matter how much I want to stop talking. And so, I don't know. It's almost like autopilot or something. Like things just come out and like I don't know. It's hard to explain. I never felt like a very smart person or, I'm not refined and I don't really give a shit. I realized lately, like in my later years, that like part of the problem is that like honestly like I'm always known for interrupting people and like just talking all the time and I'm loud. Being loud is just, I think, growing up in a big family and just having a big voice, I think. But I feel like it's like I talk so much because it's kind of like my version of being quiet. The way that shy people sit in a corner or like, introverts at a party. Most of my closest friends are introverts. But there's a relief when I'm out in public and someone is louder than me and more like hammy than me. Because I'm always like, But to me, it's almost like people being silent. It's hard, but it's not that deep. But I learned that I have ADD. And so that my brain thinks so. I mean, it sounds like you're like, my brain is just so fast. But like, it moves on to things so quickly, but is also like, I don't know, it's very weird. But I'm just like, oh, like I didn't know people thought different, like had different thought processes. I don't know. I don't like to perform, and I don't like intimate like performances. Like I don't like when it's just like 3 people in a room. I don't. There's some I don't like compliments. I just want to hang out, I just want to chill. I just want to have a good time. But sometimes I think the way that sometimes people's nerves shut them down or whatever. But it's good for what I do.
It certainly is. And that does make sense, the shyness coming out as being talkative. It's a way of, I suppose it's like a...
deflecting.
Yes, it is, exactly.
Yeah. It's like, don't look at me, Not that I have shame or anything, but I think it's probably trying to make people comfortable or... I don't feel like it's like a chore. It's not like I'm like, oh, God. But it's just like, it's just one of those, it's just the way I am.
Yeah. What was the garment that first changed the way you felt about yourself? What age were you when you noticed that connection between what you were wearing and what it gave you?
God, that's a good question. God, it's a really hard one.
When you feel like there is a piece of clothing that somehow makes sense of who you feel you are.
I don't think there is just one. Because part of, I think, why I enjoy, why it doesn't feel like a chore or like why I enjoy like putting on eyeliner or like doing, actually, I'll tell you what, instead of it being a garment, it's liquid eyeliner.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was on tour with Slater Kinney. Their manager at the time was this really, I think she was either the manager or their PR. She was great, and her name's Julie Butterfield. She's so beautiful. And all I had was like these kohl pencils, and I'd always really been into, I always wanted to have dark hair. Like from being a little girl, I wanted to look like Mary Tyler Moore or Priscilla Presley.
Yeah.
And my mom had this really beautiful dark, like auburny hair, and I had like mousy brown hair, and I still do. But I just wanted dark hair so bad. And I just, so I was like cat out, like the cat eye was my jam because I just loved the way, I loved the way Diana Ross looked. I loved the way, like Barbra Streisand and like all these like, just beautiful, twiggy. I mean, later, it's not like I knew, but I just loved early, mid-'60s eye makeup and just, I loved bouffants. I loved them. I think it was an old soul.
Yeah.
Because I was a kid of the 80s and I thought it was cool, but I'm still this way. I'm like, I like things to be put together, and within reason, like a little fucked up, whatever, doesn't matter. But for myself, I like to be put together. Maybe it's the Southerner in me, like, But when Julie Butterfield was watching me, it was the first tour I'd ever been on. I'd never been out, I'd taken one airplane in my life. Flew from Arkansas to Olympia, Washington in 1999, and this great, amazing band asked us to go on tour. I had like one kohl pencil, almost white, like literally white cover stick that my mom used to use too, and then I would use it on my lips. And I was trying to do cat eye, but I didn't even have a sharpener. And I remember Julie came, I think it was New York, she came up to me and she had Lancome liquid eyeliner. And she had just bought one, and she was like, I want you to have this. And because she was like, I see the potential. And it changed everything. It changed everything. Because I'd always been a kid that liked hair and makeup. I love that. Still, like, I'm just like, you can be wearing whatever as long as your hair and makeup look good or are right the way you want them.
Did your mum have a good, like, hair and makeup thing going on, or did you just invent that for yourself or see it somewhere else?
My mom is very naturally beautiful. Very naturally beautiful. I think almost everybody thinks their mom is the most beautiful woman in the world, I hope so, like I hope so. And not because their mom deserves it as much as that, they deserve to have a good mom. But she, still, my mom's 68. And I just talked to her 2 days ago. Her hair is to here. And, like, she just puts a headband in. She taught me how to put on makeup. Like, you don't want, like, to look like you're wearing a mask. You'd say, you don't want a baseline.
Yeah. Very good tip.
And it was a good tip. It was really good. And she was all about blending. So I knew, like, what not to do. But my mom is very, like, she does not wear makeup on a daily basis. She never wears dresses. She hates them. She has 3 girls. I'm one of 7 kids. She has 3 girls. And she always says, I don't know where these girls came from, where I got these girls. Like, not the girls, but how we are. All of us very much like to put a look together. We love makeup. We love hair. We love, like, beauty products. Meanwhile, my mom is like, she's like the kind of person who's like, oh, whatever cold cream is the cheapest. And her skin is flawless. She's so beautiful. And her skin is just so beautiful. I just hope that I can be as, like, she looks so young, and she's incredible. And she has those beautiful 70s eyebrows that everybody's trying to get rid of now, and she still has them, and it just opens her eyes up so much. So it's really beautiful. So it wasn't her. I think, I always say for me, it was not the MTV was outlawed, or not outlawed, like everything was local, right? So I grew up in the Bible Belt. I grew up in a dry county. I grew up in the middle, just a small town. And the local cable company wouldn't, stopped offering MTV after a couple years. And so,
Really? God.
yeah. And so there was this like little time capsule of like Culture Club, Like a Virgin, Thriller, Billie Jean, and Cyndi Lauper, like these really striking, Weird Al, how, like really striking graphic, like images. And that I think made me know that there's another world that I'm not seeing every day as possible. And then, but it kind of like, because they didn't offer it anymore, it's like, it was a capsule and it stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
And then it just like constantly reinvented itself in a way. But I always loved my mom. Even she'd just be like, my dad would be like, where did you even see or hear this? And I would just be watching TV and this little, like something would happen. I'd be like, see somebody with a beehive and I'd be like, now that's a look,
God.
Me and my mom, like, we couldn't buy pedal pushers. So me and my mom just sewed them and made them. Like, took a pair of pants I already had and made a pattern and we just sewed them up. And like, I would wear that with a bouffant and like just an old big shirt. I just wanted to look like Mary Tyler Moore.
Wow. And you had an advice column in The Guardian for a while in the mid-2000s called What Would Beth Ditto Do?
I sure did. I got paid for that and it was so awesome. I lived in like a shared house. It was kind of a passed down punk house, like that's still around in Portland. And like I was making, because the pound I think was like double the dollar. And like I was like, this is the best thing of all time.
Yeah.
All I had to do was write
cool.
something every 2 weeks. So I was just like, I'm rich.
Because in many of the interviews, you speak so eloquently on behalf of other people. And, we've talked about shyness and everything. And I've noticed in interviews you quite take over and you start asking the questions.
I know. I was saying today, I was like, Bella, I'm going to make you lay on the couch.
Well, yeah.
The day is young.
Quite
the night
relaxing.
is young.
I was thinking, wow, if anyone could somehow, I'd switch places, it would somehow be you. You're so persuasive. And you have this kind of very zen quality. Like everything I've heard you say in response to prejudice and criticism is remarkably philosophical. And is there someone who somehow made this seem appealing to you? Because for me, it was Desmond Tutu. I found him to be radically honest and very funny and kind. And you're very good with this kind of your response to like intensified, homing in of people's negativity. And I love the way you deal with it.
Thank you. I think growing up with no money, growing up fat, growing up gay, growing up being very afraid of God, more afraid of the devil. But both of them were pretty fucking terrifying. And being like really kind of self-aware, really kind of young, I think. Maybe not, but like I feel like I was looking at the world like, what the fuck is going on around here, And growing up in the South, growing up in the Bible Belt, growing up in a dry county, growing up in poverty, growing up in a judgmental place, growing up in a place that like people will blame anything but the truth and the problem. And that's just like the problems, the real problems. I think that goes for anywhere, but all of those things I think just made me go. It's like you have a choice somewhat. You can't help the way you feel as much, but it's a practice, It's like, I think, I don't know, just as a little kid being like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like people going to hell, that's crazy. Or like, I remember like seeing crucifixes and it bringing people like peace. And I was like, that's a dead body bleeding. Like, I don't understand how that's supposed to bring me peace. I'm 5, It was so weird. I was like, that's a corpse. Like, how is that, whatever. But I don't know. But I also grew up with a mom that was like, who went through hell as a child, a real trauma hell childhood, real bastard out of Carolina shit, that book. Insane. And for her to come out to be as joyful as she is, hardworking as she is, kind, open, and warm. And like, she wasn't perfect. She wasn't taught love and compassion, but she taught me empathy so young. Yeah. And like, that was her thing. She'd be like, imagine what that's like. Just imagine. I mean, I get chills thinking of seeing my mom in my mind being that young. But I was just, I remember saying to my mom, I was like, oh, because we're white trash. I was about 10 or 11. And my mom stopped in her tracks and she turned around and she looked at me. She's like, you are, but I'm not. I was like, damn. Really? It's like how you think about yourself and what you believe. And you're like, my mom's thing was, they can't kill you and eat you. They can only say no. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. It just made me think, if you can't love, respect, and understand my mother, and like, it's just like, then what good of friends are they? What worth it? It's like, if I don't know. She just taught me really young. It's just like, who fucking cares? Because if you live that way, it's hell. Yeah. I mean, it's just what she went through. If she would have gone through letting the system tear her down, if she would have gone through what kids at her school were saying about her, if she would have listened to her own mother, her own father, what they did to her, what they thought of her, if she would have like let all those things fuck with her mentality, like as worse than they already did, I think she was like, take control of what you can control. Yeah. That's all you can do. Can you live with yourself, and can you look at yourself at the end of the day? And do you love your friends? Do they make you happy? I don't know.
God, she sounds like an amazing person, your mom.
She's pretty funny and cute. She's great.
Yeah. God, what a great role model. I mean, I've read interviews with Desmond Tutu, but obviously I never met him or anything.
You've never met Myra.
Your mom sounds just amazing.
She's very funny, but she's the same. She's very timid in front of people. Like, people who know her well, worked with her, they'd be like, Myra? They'd be like, that doesn't sound like her. But if she came in here, I think she's very, very, never wants to get in the way. It's funny. She's shy that way too, but she's also the center of attention.
But she's got great value system, and
she does.
Sounds like she she modeled that for you, and you've taken that on, which is wonderful quality.
Yeah, I like my mom a lot.
So you've appeared on the covers of many fashion magazines and been photographed by David Bailey and Tim Walker, among other high fashion photographers. And you said, Kate Moss taught me how to take good pictures of myself.
She did.
Coming from her, that really changed the game, and she did it in what was just such a sisterly way. And do you have a pose that works for you?
I mean, it depends. She taught me how to, like, make a shape. That works for me. Yeah. Like, when you're, like, doing, like, things in public, or you want to show your outfit. I mean, she taught me that because we were taking pictures together. It was like a carpety thing or something like that. Mm-hmm.
She's a great advisor, isn't she? She's always like, oh, just do this and do that, and like...
it was the thing about... I was telling you this before, that when I hadn't met people, I hadn't been around very much. Like, I did that thing just like anyone else that looks at people in magazines and is like, fuck this, fuck them. And Kate was one of those people that I was just like, it was like so unattainable that you don't even think about are real people or something. The first time I met her, it was in Los Angeles. And like, it opened my eyes to how it was internalized sexism and systematic sexism, and how much I had, not just her, but like had discounted people, women that I didn't even know, in an industry I didn't understand. And also, which I think is really one of the best things about getting to see and meet all kinds of different people, is that like you really see that like you don't know anything. I didn't know anything. I do love that punk rock attitude that's just like, fuck that, man. So it's really cool, but also it's just like, I was wrong. And not just about Kate, but about a lot of things. And like, the first time I met her, the first thing we said to each other was, she said, I hate you. And I was like, I hate you too, because in the funniest way, because I think she knew more than anybody. But also, like, it's when you meet people who are kind to you and are funny and creative, like, you realize that, like, that is the backbone of industries that are based on creativity and personality. You realize that actually, like, that's what makes people stand out. That's what makes people icons. It may not be what makes people money, but it's what makes the image. It's what makes the story. It's like people who are like her.
Yeah. No,
and it's so like true. When I mean, it's like, yeah. And there's so many people I met. Like Grace Jones is one of those people that you had that when I first met her, I was with Kate actually. And I mean, I just want to be clear, it's not like me and Kate are talking on the phone all the time. But every time I see her, it's always a good time.
Yeah, I know.
And
it's true.
Sisterly and sweet. But yeah, Grace Jones the same way. I was like, she is so funny. Like, but also, like, it's just nice to be open and not just like that, but like with anything, and just be like, the only thing I know is I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's a good approach. And there's so, like you said, there are so many great people in the creative industry, and some people, they're just, you know a bit about them or you love their work, and then you meet them and it's like you and Kate, I hate you, instead of I love you, meaning the same thing. And just, it's
because people really wanted to pit us against each other.
This is a paid advertisement from BetterHelp. Stress has become a huge player in our working lives. Stress may be a commonly used word to describe how we feel, but the feeling is still such a powerful influence on our behaviour. It feels constricting, and the things that make me feel better are walking, listening to audiobooks, or having a perfect cup of coffee. Therapy is a thing that has helped me alongside these activities. Knowing and being able to trust another person's perspective when my mind is whirring is a huge relief. With over 5,000 therapists in the UK, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/neurosis. That's betterhelp.com/neurosis. In 2012, you appeared in a Versace runway show with Donatella announcing, "Beth Ditto is in my house." And I wondered what makes you feel so at home in high fashion.
You mean in my H&M dress on your couch?
That's only one of your many guises.
I don't know. I didn't know she said that. That's very nice.
Yeah, she said, "Beth Ditto is in my house."
It's
her house. Really great.
Then I'm in here.
And then you performed live, and it was wonderful. I mean, I was just watching on YouTube, and it was really cool. And then you were the bride in the 2015 Marc Jacobs show, and I wondered what it felt like being fitted by a designer who knows how to show your body at its most beautiful.
Oh, Marc Jacobs, and that is Katie Grand. Katie Grand made that happen, 100%. I remember I had gotten my nails done, and I didn't know what he wanted with them, and like I'd gotten acrylics, which I don't really do anymore. I don't even really paint my nails anymore. I kind of like them just kind of plain. Me too. Like even like my gross cuticles, like I do too. But he clipped them off.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, he clipped them off. I don't know. He's really sweet. He's funny.
And did you feel his hands on you? Because that's an incredible feeling. Someone shaping you, literally shaping the cloth, and like suddenly there you look in the mirror and someone's done this thing for you.
No, I don't remember. I think I'm so out of my body most of the time that I'm not feeling things, I'm seeing them, like in the mirror. And I think for me, the biggest worry was like, can I walk in those shoes? Like, and can I walk fast enough with all those tall people, those tall models? I was hauling ass. I was walking so fast. I was like, oh. And trying not to laugh too, because I was like, oh my God, I must look hilarious. Because I was like,
you looked
you
looked so amazing.
Thank you.
Really did.
He did bleach the fuck out of my hair.
It was fantastic with that silk dress and those jewels in your hair. It was
That was really an amazing time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the other thing too is that, like, the U.S. doesn't really embrace gossip that much. Like, it's very different there, different experience, which is also really cool. Yeah. So to have, like, an American designer to walk in the show in New York, you know, that was very cool.
Yeah.
And it was different for that reason.
I mean, Marc Jacobs is just a standout, really. He's just such a bringer of joy. He's so brilliant and things are so creative, and it's really exciting whenever he puts a show on. It's
There's
fantastic.
something, yeah.
Now he's wearing all those acrylics. I mean,
I
whenever I see his Instagram, he has these long nails and they're...
I'm really happy for him because there's no way. And heels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you also opened and closed the Gaultier show in 2011, and
Well, he is so...
I mean, he's another
so sweet,
extraordinary genius, and I wondered
he's so punk rock.
Yeah, he is.
He is. I love his whole story. I love talking to him. He's great.
Did he give you any advice about how he wanted you to walk?
No.
Nothing?
No, he did not care at all, no. Which is fine. It was all right. It wasn't hard. He didn't care what I did. I mean, he was just like, all right. I think, which is a lot easier, you know, because you can just be like, you don't have to think about how fast you're walking.
Yeah.
But he made my wedding dress. I'm divorced now, but he made my wedding dress.
That white baby, like the baby doll. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very, very beautiful.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Like, he's always been very good to me, like really good to me. I think, I think sometimes people can be... I mean, there was times, I remember with Katie Grand, the first shoot we did together was for Pop. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Stephen Klein. And I don't know if I was 30 yet. Maybe I just turned 30, I don't remember. So it was that long ago. I'm 44 now, so it was that long ago. And she was telling me, I don't know if it was then or the next shoot we did together, about how she couldn't get people to make things for me. They wouldn't do. They just flat out said no. You know.
Really?
Yeah. And so back then, it's not a surprise. Like,
well, you're such a good wearer of clothes. I mean, you've got so much attitude and style. It's like that's our job, to make you clothes, you know.
Yeah. Things with things. I could not feel different. Like, I am.
Well, I know you said you hate to take a compliment, and I love to pay a compliment, so it's going to be a conflict here. But
I just don't know if I agree. I don't know. I don't really look at pictures of myself. I don't.
But Katie,
I do love getting dressed.
Katie Grand has put you on the cover of all her magazines, hasn't she? You were the first cover of Love, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was an amazing picture.
Yeah, that was wild. That was with Martin Marcus. That was crazy.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're a great cover girl.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you. So young, I didn't know that was, there was a second naked shoot, or the second naked cover. And the thing is like, we didn't do a lot of naked shots. I don't think we did. And that's what she chose, which is great. I think it's great. Yeah, it's just naked. It's skin.
Interesting. When I was like looking at your naked pictures, and I sat for my dad naked twice.
Yeah.
And you seem to be able to express a lot of joy with your body, with or without clothes. And I wondered, what makes you self-conscious?
Compliments. But I also want to give a shout out to Sue Tilley.
Sue, there's a picture of her over there.
I don't know. I think I saw it.
Because I found I actually felt completely at ease when I was naked. I mean, obviously it depends on the circumstances, but I felt like I was doing a job and it necessitated not having any clothes for this painting. So it was fine, yet the idea of being naked fills me with kind of dread. I don't, in other contexts.
Or usually it does. I think also nudity, when it's not sexualized, is way more comfortable. Yeah. Because often, especially with female bodies, we are immediately sexualized, so people have a hard time like separating the two. And it's like, no, it's just a fucking body, It's just skin, it's just bones. It's a blob. It's the same, It's like, that is just, yours is shaped different than mine, and people have different parts, and they have different, our organs are in different places, and some of us have ones and others don't. It's like, it's funny. But I think that's the thing. It's just like, I remember when, I think The Enemy came out, I was in my 20s, and their idea was to do it naked. And I was like, okay. But I had a little anxiety about it because I was like, oh my God, did I do that? Like, is it going to be weird? Or like, people are going to be weird about it? And then it just was like, I don't care. I just don't care. It's like, who cares? Like, what? It's like, it's kind of the best part of just coming from a punk rock and like coming from a place of like radical feminism or like, it's like, or activism or whatever, whatever word it is. I can't find the right word, but like, it's like, you're not asking for anybody to accept you. If you wait around for that, you're not going to do much.
Yeah.
I think that's
really
a prison in itself. Yeah. So it's like, who cares? And that's the point. It's like, at the end of the day, in 300 years, nobody's going to fucking remember. It's like, why? And am I going to look back and be like, whew, good thing I didn't do that naked shoot. No.
In fact, the opposite. It's a great picture, and it's so full of charm, and it's really fun, and it's,
It's also just like, that's what most people look like under their clothes. It's like, not, but like, there aren't that many bodies that fit this idea of what a cover should be. I know that's cliche, that's obvious, but it's like, why? I always had this mentality. I did not understand, if there were more of us, then why do we let this small group of people dictate what we like or what we do or what we say? I never understood that. Even in high school, I remember, like, when it was the yearbook, Americans, like, I was on yearbook staff, and I remember being like, this year, it's not going to be the jocks and the popular kids. It's going to be my weird friend. It's going to be, we're going to get people in there, to vote for, like most, like, best all around, most cool spirit, most talented, most athletic. It's like, yeah, this year, that's not happening. Like, I was just like, I didn't understand, why did the popular kids get all these accolades and attention when no one really likes or knows them? Yeah. It's like, what if we actually voted for, like, hey, we like, it's just high school, it's yearbook, and it's not that simple, I know. But back then I was just like, I don't get it.
Well, you seem to have been remarkably kind of, I don't know, like, had this very good instinct. Like, at the age of 5, you were thinking, why is everyone going along with, hell and damnation, and
racism too, and like seeing my mom be treated like shit, but like it was okay, like it was cool if a dad left or like a dude left, but like if my mom went out for the weekend, I was just like, fuck off. Like, it genuinely did not make sense. It didn't make sense to me. I was like, how does this make sense? I don't get it. In a very simple way. I know that now there's like, it's not that like, no, things are like, there's more depth and there's like stories and there's reasons and there's systems and there's history and there's, human beings. But back then, it just like, I did not understand it. I still don't understand.
No, it's good. It's good you don't
Hello.
buy it. And talking of clothes, if you fancy someone and you don't like what they're wearing, does it kill your attraction?
No. No. It can bum me out a little bit. But like, it's usually because I'm like, you can do like, it's difficult because like because some people don't enjoy it as much as I do. I like if I thought that like doing anything with style or fashion or clothes or makeup and dress, like getting stuff, and yeah, so sometimes you're not in the mood to do your makeup at midnight to play a show at 2 a.m. You know what I mean? But like, if I didn't enjoy it, I think it would be a hard existence. I mean, I think it would be difficult, but I actually like it, and not everybody does. So there's that. But yes, like I think when there's an effort put into something, and that it doesn't really succeed, I think I'm wondering sometimes. Like I'm like, the interesting question is, are they seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah, good point.
And is what I'm seeing better? But like, it's just a different, or like, or it's, I mean, let's be honest. Just the other day, I was talking to my friend Andrew, he's my makeup artist. He didn't do my makeup today, so
Andrew
don't judge.
Gallimore.
Yeah, Andrew Gallimore, Bella, yeah.
I love Andrew Gallimore.
Me too.
I saw him not that long ago. He did my makeup, and God, it was great.
You did?
Yeah, he was wonderful. Carry on.
I love it. Well, he's one of my very, very best friends. Very best friends. And but we were talking about like we've entered our all black chic phase. Because we're just like, when we were younger, I was just like, we dress like clowns. And like, I still love that very much. But now I'm just like, I'm not going to pack a suitcase full of colorful clothes that I have to coordinate now. I don't have the patience. I'm just like, oh my God, throw about 50 black dresses in there, 4 pair of tots, and 3 pairs of shoes. I don't care. I just don't want to. It doesn't stain. You don't have to worry about it. But
you said, I don't like writing words. I just don't find it enjoyable. It feels really awful because it's so personal. But you're really, really good at this. And how
you mean like lyrics or words of songs? And I don't like it at all.
How do you go through the resistance? Because the things you write are amazing, and they're very
That's so nice.
connecting, and listening to your songs, they really resonate, and the music is so fantastic.
Well, thank you.
And it's not often that is, you get that whole combination. And so how do you go from like, oh, I don't want to do this, to doing it?
For years, I wouldn't even give. I wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't write words. It was Barry Ramone's second verse, same as the first. I did not put any effort into it. It was like the most painful, emotional. Not like, I don't want people to know my insides. I can't explain it. I hate it. I still hate it. Like, also, there's this thing, and I think that's probably part of being like coming up in a punk scene, like young, not like I was, but like gossip exists solely because we moved to Olympia, Washington, because we were coming in behind the Riot Girl movement and like swooping in,
Yeah.
So I was 18, so like that's the first band experience I had was in a feminist punk scene, queer punk scene. My touring experience was that. So I think that comes with like there is no goal to make money, there's no goal to be successful, there's no goal to be famous, there's no goal like eventually you do come to a point where you're like, I just want to do this for a living. But for me, like it just wasn't something you did. I don't really feel like a songwriter. I love writing melodies. I like writing music, but I don't I don't like it. Writing the words. I don't like it.
But you do write them anyway.
Yeah. If whatever comes out on top is done, it's done. We're not going to think. That's the other thing, too, is that like you just shouldn't think about things too much. That's good about the punk scene is like you're not supposed to, like my understanding of it, which is not true, is that you're not supposed to try. You know, it's...
But do you think that's... Because I was around...
That was my interpretation. It wasn't real at all. Yeah.
Because I was around and, I mean, I caught the very end of the Sex Pistols, and I was around at that time, and it was quite confusing, this idea that you weren't supposed to care, because everybody cares.
I think that...
But it
100%.
played havoc with my, like, why do I care so much? Yet no one's supposed to care. I don't know what to do with this kind of excess.
That's the thing. No, that is such a good point about that mentality. It's like, because no one was going to admit that they cared, you know? The image that was created was, you know, the image of not caring was curated.
Yeah.
You know, Vivienne Westwood, like these people had people put in that looks together for them. I guess, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but yeah. And that was like 70s punk too. So like, also like grunge for me was like formed so much of who I was.
Yeah.
But it was like this idea of like the purest form of the pure.
Right.
You know, and still that's in my head. Like, don't put it on. Like, but I cringe. I'm not good at hiding how I feel or pretending. Not good at it.
Which is great. I mean,
I want to be though. Don't you think life is probably easier?
Yeah, I know. I think that's a kind of phase, and now I've decided if I care about something, I'll care, and that means something. It's like, I remember someone saying to me, like, if you feel weird about something, it means it's weird. So now I think if I have strong feelings, then there's something to explore rather than something to sort of suppress.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, that kind of energetic force comes across in your music, your performance, your whole...
Thank you.
You know, everything about you. And it's really a kind of source of... a great source for everybody else who's inspired by you. And also, am I right, you've worked on your last 2 albums with the producer Rick Rubin, who's a bit of a legend. He looks like a legend too, with that amazing beard.
I'm surprised you've not met him before.
I've never met him. I'm fascinated by him. And how did you know that he would bring out the best in you, or what you wanted to come out?
The first time I was in my 20s. It's so wild because, like, we've worked on 3 records together, I think. And spent a lot of time in studios together, you know. How did I know? I didn't at first. But I just remember being like, is this really happening? Like, and also that thing where, like, I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm going to have to, like, take this seriously. I'm going to have to, like, write a poem and put it in you know, it's like, what am I going to do? Like, and, you know, back then I didn't realize that it was my process, you know, that, like, I had to take time. I need things to come up naturally, you know. I thought that it was a burden because I'd worked with people before that were like, this, you know, where's your lyric sheet? Where's your whatever? And like and then I realized now that I was like, wait, but because Rick does not pressure you for that. Like, but the way that I felt, just a couple of things. One was that I think there's so much, like, he's calm, and I feel like we agree about things where it's like, then don't. Like, you're like, oh, but I don't want to do this, and he'll be like, well, then don't. Or like, I'm worried this will happen. He's like, who cares? Like, the things that I feel like I'll say to my friends, he would say to me. That also just like, really on the same page. But the first thing, because I think I was around 27 when we did Music for Men, I think. And we were in Malibu at the Shangri-La. And like we had met before. We had done live in Liverpool, which is so wrong, crazy. That record is nuts. But like for this one, which you're actually writing and recording, and I walked in and I was like, okay, so, the first day I was like, so what's our process? Like, what are we doing? And he was like, we'll know when we're done. And I was like, damn. I was like, oh my God. And then I knew it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because I cannot follow a rule. It's not because I don't want to. It's not like I'm rebellious. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I think it's like I, was diagnosed with ADD and now I get it. Because I'm like, that's why I don't do things. There's no linear thought. It's all over the place. So even in Nathan, my bandmate, same. I mean, we've known each other since we were 13, 14. We grew up in Arkansas together. Or like came of age together.
Yeah.
So like that was the thing that we needed. And, that's when I knew. And I knew in this funny way, I feel really protective of Nathan, even though he doesn't need me to be. But, I think just the way that he treats him and the way, because I think Rick and Nathan are similar in that way. They don't have macho egos. It's not some like bullshit rock and roll, like sex, drugs, girls. Like it's not, 70s, like Led Zeppelin tour bus bullshit. Like it's not his style, and it's not really, I mean, not that I know of, it's not Rick's style. So like he appreciates him because he's not like, check out my solo. Nathan's just like, here's this bass line. And then Nathan's like, and then Rick will be like, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm like, he loves him as much as I do.
Yeah, that's so nice. He just has this aura of wisdom about him, and it must be so lovely to be chosen by someone who seems like a wise man, with this calm authority.
But now that I'm older, it feels like a friendship.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing. Yeah, he does have a calm authority.
Well, Rick Rubin seems like a wonderful ally to have, I must say.
He is. I love his stories. I love it. Yeah. He's one of those people that when you make them laugh, it's the best. Because I think like some like back, like you'll see images of him and like people are like, what is he like all the time? And you're just like, he's hard to explain, that like making him laugh is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
I love it. Actually, with the last record, I was like, I want to call it Gender Fluids. And if you know him, he was just like, oh my God, I am offended. And he was laughing but grossed out. And I was like, oh, it's the best feeling. It's so funny.
And in your memoir, Coal and Diamonds, you say you felt like coal, rough, overlooked. At what point did you start to believe you were becoming the diamond? And who gave you your first compliment?
I don't know. I had this one uncle, that's funny that I wrote rough and overlooked. I feel more like misunderstood, just in the mid, like, just like, ooh, like what's going on? I just felt like I didn't feel like I belonged there. Like, and I always knew it. Like, I was so convinced Cyndi Lauper was my sister. I was convinced of it, I loved my sister. I knew that people liked to hear me sing as a young little kid. But I didn't know that people never were like, you're good at it. Or you've got a good voice. Or like, it's funny. But I had this one uncle who was from South Africa. And his name was Uncle Victor. And I didn't really know what that meant at the time, especially. I was like 4 or 5, whatever. He was also our landlord. Very kind, very gentle man. He like came over, like it's a whole like Church of Christ thing and like missionary thing, but so he ended up in Arkansas. God. But But he drank tea hot. His tea, the tea he drank was hot. He kept the tea bag in it. It was weird. And he also put milk and sugar in it. I'm from the South. The only tea we had was cold. It was very sweet. And you definitely didn't fucking put milk in it. It used to blow my mind. I was just like, what? He used to call me beautiful. And I remember that always stuck out in my head. Like, my mom, of course my mom loved me. My dad loved me. And me and my sister would get, we'd play dress up and stuff. And my mom would go, ja, ja. And she'd say, you're pretty, but it was different because he'd be like, hello, beautiful. And it was encouraging. It wasn't condescending. It wasn't meant to it wasn't like that weird way that it was genuine and nice. It was like, I think that he could see that I don't think it was going to be an easy road for me. I think there were some people that just knew I was a weird kid. I wasn't nuts weird kid, but I definitely wasn't the not weird kid. And I think that some people could pick up on that. I think he was one of them. My mom did too. But him calling me beautiful, but it not being weird.
Yeah. God, you really remember those rare things where someone notices you in a way that's completely unattached to any weird stuff.
Yeah.
It's really something.
It was really something. He also had an accent, and I just never really thought about it. The tea thing was weirder than anything else.
You better get used to that now. You're living here. That's pure.
What did you do? Yorkshire?
English.
Yorkshire tea?
Yorkshire tea is great.
Or we're doing PG tips.
Yeah, PG tips in Yorkshire. They're like the hardcore teas.
Do you know what we should do? Make iced tea with those.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to say genius.
Like rocket fuel.
I know.
It's never hot enough to have iced tea. It's just always quite under the temperature level.
See, that is the thing. It's like where I'm from, it doesn't matter what the temperature is. It could be freezing outside. Tea was if you had tea in the house, you had groceries.
Right.
Yeah.
And you quoted Patti Smith as saying, if you build a good name, eventually that name will be its own currency. And that seems very fitting for you now.
That gives me chills all the time. I say that. I mean, I don't know it verbatim. But the whole quote, it makes my stomach hurt. It's so incredible. It's it makes so much sense to me. And they're when my friends talk to me, no matter what they're doing. But a lot of my friends, the industry changed. We're all getting older. We're not even in our mid-30s anymore. We're in our mid-40s. Some of us are almost 50. Some of us are beyond 50. But things change so quickly and industries change. And I mean all across the board. To every friend that I know is in all different ways. That I have quoted that to them. And I've just been this is the most incredible advice. It's just and it aligns with that thing of be pure, be good to people or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That, what is it? She says, don't worry about the success, but do your work, do good work and build a good name. And eventually your name will become its own currency. And it's that is it. To me, that is the answer. I guess some people will quote a Bible verse and be it's where thou goest, I shall go, whatever. But that was it for me. That made everything feel so good. It made things feel worth it. You're oh yeah, that's what you do it for is to be fulfilled in whatever currency. What is the currency?
It's a great thing to think about, and it's so circular, and it's that's a good reason to keep, doing the things you believe are good. That's all you can do.
I also try not to judge the things that,
You're very good at that, and it's a wonderful quality, and it's very, it's infectious as well. So you give good quote too, Beth Ditto.
I'm listen, let me tell you something. I tell you what you ought to do. I don't know. I have crazy bullshit days. I do crazy, stupid shit, weird shit, whatever. Because we all do. But, I definitely could be stuck in a well of anxiety.
Well,
But there's things that are actually legitimately weird and they like to worry about. And I try to remind myself that I'm like, these are not real problems.
Well, thank you, Beth, for coming on Fashion Neurosis. It's been
Thank
wonderful
you.
to listen to you and your amazing perspective and your brilliance and your beauty. Thank you so
Bella.
much.
Are you going to bring me a blanket? Am I sleeping on the couch tonight?
You're staying. You're living in England, so
I live
might
here.
as well just move in.
I would.